It's the 68th anniversary of the Munich Air Disaster, and today we pay our respects to all of those that lost their lives in 1958. The Busby Babes legacy laid the foundations of this football club, and we will always remember them. I do invite you, if you wish to do so, to pay your respects in the live chat and the comments section, and we will also be discussing Manchester United versus Tottenham and other Manchester United news in today's video, so stick with us. 1958, it was a year you was actually born, so you've grown up with this.
It seems so long ago, but I still feel like a teenager.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, I always reflect on this day, and most United fans do. Those from my age group always reflect on it. It's a part of their history. It's what they've grown up with. But I look back at like two things. Each decade I reflect. Each year I reflect. I just look back on 1968 from my point of view, watching the European Cup final, winning that, how much it meant to Busby and everyone else like that. But over the last decade, I look back and I had the privilege as a United fan to be in the presence of Harry Gregg, where I was in Northern Ireland, where he lived. And they took me to heart. They brought me into their home. They let me have the run around Harry Gregg. Everyone knows the story of Harry Gregg, the hero of the disaster, running back into the plane to save a child and a mother. But I had the privilege, and that's what I look at. It is my history. I had the run around. They gave me the freedom of their house. That's how much the connection is for me to Munich. But there's many, many connections. I've lost tens of thousands of United fans who aren't here today to reflect on a day like this. So many, many ways I reflect.
Yeah, Michael Carrick obviously touched on it yesterday as well in his press conference, and he said it means a great deal. As soon as you come here, you're made aware, and you can't help but know and understand the history. It's a responsibility when you work here and you understand what's to come and what was before us. Behaviours and responsibilities we need to carry through.
Yeah, it's the responsibility bit. Every player, every young player is taught what Manchester United is about, what Munich is about, what the standards should be. Soon, the moment you walk in, and Carrick got that. And in his press conference, he was sort of smiling as if to say, I walked in here and my God, I was told it straight away and I got the feeling. And I think many, many United fans get the same feeling once they learn about the history of the club and that. But it is a responsibility. And it's a responsibility also when I look at it for people like myself, fathers like Kieran, to pass it down to the kids. I mean, I took Kieran and all my family when these were kids to Munich, and I look at it and say, and I always push this message, to be honest with you, and Michael Carrick was pushing it yesterday, and to be honest with you, I always push the message that no matter what, in your lifetime, you must go over to Trudering in Munich and visit the site. Doesn't matter whether you go on the day, on the 6th of February, or any time in the summer. But I always encourage people to go, and especially take the kids. And I'm going again in 2 years' time. And I'll be taking my grandkids and hopefully the rest of my family again. So for me, Carrick's got it, but it's all about the understanding.
Tomorrow's game as well against Tottenham, it will add that emotional weight to it as well.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing about it. The fans tomorrow will be able to pay the respects, and Tottenham fans will join in that. I don't see anything being untoward. Fans nowadays do pay the respects, and everyone will be quiet. Both sets of fans will give it 100%, and that's what I like. And it will sort of give that feeling as well, and it does do to the start of a game. And it's like the raw after it. It's like letting out the emotion. It's great, and tomorrow will be no different.
Yeah, just sticking on the game as well against Tottenham, Carrick noticed in his press conference that Spurs represent a different challenge despite being 14th in the table. And he said they have some really good attackers that look to stretch our back line, a slightly different game to what we've played in recent weeks.
Yeah, I think what he was reflecting on was the games in recent weeks was the Man City game and the Arsenal, because he also seen the Fulham game as a different game and a different type of a team and how he will have to set up. And he sees this. He isn't underestimating Tottenham. No way is he underestimating him. And he'll be setting up the team differently than he did against Tottenham, against Fulham, because he's seen Fulham as a different game. And people sort of looked at that game, the Fulham game, and sort of said, oh, it was different, it was poor, not game management, but like the way they set up and everything. But they actually set up to counteract Fulham and kept them quiet until the last 15 minutes. So tomorrow against Tottenham, I think you'll see something completely different. He's prepared for it. He did discuss how they come attacking. So he was pretty clear on how he sees Tottenham coming to Manchester United and the difficulties they'll bring.
Yeah, he also was mentioning the Manchester United squad, as you'd expect, in his press conference. And he did say the boys have worked really hard again this week. The feet are on the ground. Let's not get carried away with what has gone on. It's about what's next. The lads have been better than you could imagine in terms of being fully invested.
Yeah, he understands the point of keeping your feet on the ground, not getting too giddy. But we're football fans, we can't help it. I mean, we've not been this giddy, God knows when. So it's very hard to keep your feet on the ground as fans, but he's trying to keep the players' feet on the ground and concentrate on the game and the tactics. But I've listened to Harry Maguire. Is his feet on the ground? I mean, he's really, really going into it about like the coaching staff. You've got two players there, two ex-players who were central defenders who were there in the coaching staff, and he's gushing. And I mean, he's gushing over them. So even like a professional like Harry Maguire, he's gushing over what's going on at Manchester United. So he's bouncing. I think the players are bouncing, and Carrick has got a hard job keeping these players' feet on the ground. But he will not be able to keep my feet on the ground, because what I'm seeing is just a proper breath of fresh air. And I suppose most people out there will see it the same way. This is just football off a different scale, what we've been used to.
I'm becoming more and more impressed, though, with Michael Carrick, though, in his interviews and his press conferences, in how calm he is as well, though.
Carrick on the sideline is calm. I mean,
it does help as well when you're winning football matches, let's have it right. But I have been impressed with him and how he's handling certain questions.
Oh, without doubt, the questions. I don't think they can go at him like previous managers. He's there and he can just turn around and say, I'm doing a job. I'm in here as an interim manager. I'm sorting these players out and I've just given something to feel, let's play this way, calm down. Let's see where we get. He's not giving any expectations of where we're going to be. But I'll tell you this now. The conversation is like Carrick continues as he is, and he's looking calm. I mean, I watched him there against City. Pep Guardiola on the sideline, completely different. You'd think Carrick was the long-term professional top manager, and when you look at Pep, he's running up and down. And then same against Arsenal, but I thought he was more calm against Fulham because he knew the difficulties. So for me, he might even be looking as a shoo-in for the manager, because if he continues, he'll be 100% in with the shout. And to be honest, quite rightly so. If he gets us in a position here, like getting in Europe, Champions League and all that, and we keep winning and the football, he keeps producing it, 100% he will be looked at. So for me, a lot of people out there shouting, the conversation is turning to who will be the manager. And for me, I have to say, if he continues, the shout will be out there, and quite rightly, he will be in with the shout.
Just some injury updates as well from Michael Carrick. First on Mason Mount, he was asked when he would be actually returning. He said probably Mount would return sooner. He's not too far away, really. But Matthijs de Ligt is working his way back. He's improving and being really positive. A little too soon at the moment, but hopefully he won't be too long as well. So Mason Mount's expected back sooner than de Ligt.
Well, you talk about sooner than de Ligt. Listen, we play against Tottenham Saturday, and then we've got a game Tuesday. So I don't see Mount back for then. And then we've got 2 weeks off. FA Cup, we're not in it. International break. So, you're talking like 3 weeks before Mount will come back. Well, how long's De Ligt out for? For me, I think De Ligt is out for a long time. But Mason Mount, I don't think you might see him on the bench at West Ham. But starting a game, Mason Mount, I don't think he'll be considered until after that international break. And he'll be lucky to get a start.
Yeah, there's some also news reports, I think, were coming out late last night and also today, which some of you may have seen in local and regional newspapers. And it's on Luis Enrique, the first one I'm going to start with. And it's reported that he's a primary target for Sir Jim Ratcliffe. United Chiefs have reportedly met with his agent, Ivan De La Peña, in Paris recently. INEOS are drawn to his elite tactical status and his track record of winning a treble at with Barcelona and the Champions League with PSG.
Well, I look at it. I said it when Carrick was there when he first started. United have to go out there and start talking to managers, getting in contact with them. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was 100% correct, but he won't be the only one. I mean, I'd be shocked if there wasn't a shortlist. Regardless of the results or how the feel-good factor is, United have to be diligent and go out there and speak to managers about the possibility of bringing somebody in, regardless of what Carrick does. So for me, yeah, speak to him. Speak to lots of managers. I've seen conversation there. Like I say, the conversation started turning last night. Wherever I looked, people was talking about a shortlist, about a new manager, this manager, that manager, and you could put 10 names in a hat and they should all be spoken to, not 2, 3 or 4. People should be out there and they've been neglecting. They would be neglecting Manchester United's future if they didn't go out there and send agents to speak to people. But for me, it'd be very difficult to pinpoint who the manager could be. I've got my views. I've given my views who the manager should be. But then again, I don't think a decision will be made no matter what until the end of the season. Because as I go back, Carrick continues. Who knows?
Yeah, it does. With the reports that I'm reading this morning, it does seem that they're leaning more towards a manager with a proven track record, though.
Well, you've got to go with a manager. If you're looking to bring in a manager at Manchester United, you have to go with a proven track record. But the thing is, all the options should be explored. And, even a manager who's in situ, I mean, my opinion and Kieran's opinion is Unai Emery from Aston Villa. And I think he should be talked to. Now, is there a difficulty with getting in touch with his camp and exploring the opportunity for Emery to come to Old Trafford? I think he's got it all. He's got the European and everything. And how he's turned Aston Villa around, I don't know. But I look at Unai Emery and I look at the situation we're in. And if Carrick continues and gets the job, Carrick might get a 2-year contract. Who knows? You just don't know. He might get a 2-year contract. Is it too early for Unai Emery? Is it the wrong timing for Unai Emery? Is 2 years down the line for the next manager to come along? Carrick, keep him in situ, keep him going. Let's see what happens, but always have an eye on Emery. You just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, us personally, I think a lot of you who have been watching the channel over the years have been saying it for a number of years about Unai Emery, and we've always fancied him taking the hot seat here at Manchester United. I just see the biggest actual obstacle in bringing him here to the football club is the control he currently has at Aston Villa. He has the final say on near enough everything that goes on at that football club, in particular recruitment, etc. And you look at the structure here at Manchester United, are they going to loosen that rope to give him what he may want if he was to come here at United? I highly doubt it, especially when you've got the likes of Jason Wilcox in the background, who we all know was having an input in what he was wanting to see on the football pitch under Amorim.
Well, I look at Emery. He has to have aspirations, right, to win the league, okay, to win the Champions League and everything else like that. Will he have them aspirations under Aston Villa? Money-wise, is the money there to bring players in? Clearly not this year. So they have a ceiling at the moment. And Unai Emery would want to jump that ceiling, and why not? He's improving everywhere he goes. So for me, you have to look at Emery, and he might stay there, and he might be promised this, and he might be promised that, but he might not be able to take Aston Villa above a certain threshold, and he might want the challenge. So in 2 years' time, you just don't know. But for me, they will always have to have a look at Unai Emery at some point.
I want to know your opinions out there. You've obviously got the likes of Carlo Ancelotti, Thomas Tuchel, who will be at the World Cup. So is the timing of that and the actual possibility of becoming the Manchester United manager, later on in the summer, is that a biggest obstacle for you, where you just think, no, I want a manager in sooner?
Well, people are all talking about Tuchel, but they're also talking about it is a massive problem. We want a manager in. We want him in place so the plan can be enacted. We don't want it like him coming in at the end of July, beginning of August. We want him there at the end of the season. That's what we want with a manager who can work with the board, who can work with the players, who can sort out the club and have a plan and give us the plan. I mean, Michael Carrick, the problem there, Tuchel, the problem you've got there is the World Cup, okay? Now, you look at it, would the FA even consider Tuchel talking to the representatives from Manchester United? They would want no disruption whatsoever in the camp, because if it leaked out and got out that Tuchel was talking to Manchester United, people would be saying he's not got his eye on the ball. England have got a right good chance of winning the World Cup. That's what people would say. And if they failed, then you know what would happen. You've seen it now. The press coming at United, right, all the time. We know that. Do you imagine what the press would be like? Our World Cup was messed up by Manchester United. You know what I mean? That's what would happen. There's no two ways. We'd have won it if it weren't for Manchester United. Can you imagine them headlines in the press? His head was turned. The bigger picture for Tuchel was always Manchester United, not the World Cup for England. My God, we would suffer badly in the press.
Could always sort a deal out, though, before the World Cup starts, surely. I mean, you could sort it out in April or May, and maybe Thomas Tuchel goes off to the World Cup and then leaves it in the hands of your likes of Jason Wilcox, your Berardo, to sort out the recruitment during the summer whilst he's at the World Cup. Would that work? Is that an option in your eyes out there?
It's not an option for me. It's not an option. It's definitely not an option. Yeah, sort it out, sign a contract. Yeah, but you want the man in place. You don't want the man coming into Old Trafford after the World Cup, having an holiday, and then walking into Manchester United. And as Michael Carrick said, from the very first day, you have to get told, and you do get told, what this club's all about, its history and everything. So Tuchel walking in would have to go through that process. He would need time to understand and the feel of the club and what it means to people. That is a barrier, and it is a tough barrier for anybody to get over walking into this club. That takes time, and then take it. This club's massive. He would have to walk round for weeks getting a feel of the club, and he needs to get his feet under the table early. That's if Tuchel was picked. Any manager has to get his feet under the table before he starts work.
It did happen, though, with Louis van Gaal after he finished with Holland, and he come in and he implemented a style of play, let's face it, early on in his Manchester United career. It wasn't to everyone's liking, including myself, but it seemed to work at the time. And you've also got other names like Roberto De Zerbi, Oliver Glasner, and Iraola as well from Bournemouth. Are we just discounting them names? Are we putting them names to one side and they're on the, let's call it, a B list?
No, I think everyone's on the same list. Everyone's going to be spoken to, and how it's chosen, I don't know. I don't know what they're actually looking for. Well, tick that off, tick that off, tick that off. And if you fit the bill, then you might go on to another list. But for me, I think we're going to hear week after week now, this manager's been spoken to, this manager's been spoken to. But I don't know the truth. And that's the thing. But there's a conversation, and it's a conversation all United fans will be having. They will be putting their pennies worth in. I'll be putting my pennies worth in. I've made my point quite clear, who I want. It might happen. but it's difficult to get Unai Emery, to be honest with you. But Unai Emery might start shouting towards the end of the season and saying, I need this to take Aston Villa. We don't know where their form's going to go. They've got injuries and that. They haven't got a big backup system where they've got class players or decent players to bring on. They're threadbare.
It does obviously breed uncertainty around the manager's position, and you're going to get these articles week on week until an official announcement is made. But what do you think out there? Should it be made before the season finishes on who the manager should be, or should it be kept until the season's finished? Because you're looking at where Manchester United currently are, and do you think the focus should all be on Manchester United making sure they get in the top four first?
No, I don't think the focus and the talk is actually affecting Michael Carrick and his coaching team. I don't think it's affecting the players. The players are on a different planet. They're on a feel-good factor. Doesn't matter to them, right? They're on a feel-good factor, and Michael Carrick is. So any talk will not, and this is the good thing, any talk won't divert anyone's head inside Manchester United. It won't undermine what Michael Carrick's doing. Michael Carrick will carry on doing week in, week out what he's doing with his team, right? And he will be putting himself in the shop window. There's no guarantees for Michael Carrick the moment he walks in. He understands that, but the players understand it as well. But what they are doing, they're showing proper respect to Michael Carrick and the coaching team. They are putting it all in. They are listening, and now they're showing respect to the fans by working and working harder, to be honest with you. I mean, they are putting it in.
Are you up for tomorrow's game?
Oh, I'm well up for it. I can't wait for it. It's like the Fulham game. Yeah. I couldn't wait for it because I knew it was going to be a different type of game. And tomorrow is going to be a different type of game. And like I say, once that 12:30 comes and everyone's paid the respect, the volume will go up. And I expect it to continue.
Just something to note as well, what he said in yesterday's press conference, and we've discussed it recently with the community out there, and it's on mid-season friendlies. And he said, at this stage, there's nothing confirmed. We're aware of the schedule, and there are some spaces we can use in different ways. It's all up for discussion, but nothing has been decided.
No, nothing's been decided. But to be honest with you, it's all about money, getting a few quid in and all that. But I think it'd be counterproductive, what we've got here at Manchester United. We've got Carrick, we've got the feel-good factor, we've got the players on a high, we've got the fans all mad for it and everything. We all seem to be together at the moment. And I don't see... I think it'd be disruptive. I think it's also... taking players abroad and everything else like that, taking them away, there's no need. I think players should be here. There's a 2-week break virtually coming up. And I think it'd be a mistake. I'm not happy about it. I think the big picture, and when the club look at money, we know what they're like, penny pinching and all that at the moment, but when they're looking at money, surely it's more vital for the players to stick together in this environment and not be taken out of it, because qualifying for the Champions League, that'll bring its riches anyway. So it might be counterproductive thinking about going away and getting a few million quid. Because you might end up getting the big prize. You might end up not getting the big prize, and that's the big bucks.
Yeah, we've been mentioning what we've seen in the regional and national newspapers this morning, where United are looking more for an elite coach to come into the football club. The BBC saying something different though, and the article says that INEOS are now seriously considering handing Michael Carrick the permanent manager role following his perfect start and the positive cultural shift in that he has implemented. And it's the boardroom sentiment, and it's the initial plan for a summer search has been shifted because the club's hierarchy is impressed how he has stabilised the dressing room and restored what is described as the club's DNA. So, like I say, conflicting reports, as there always is with Manchester United, and it's up to you which you take and which you don't with a pinch of salt.
Well, this is the thing. It's all different reports. Everyone's getting the penny's worth in. That's what I said. The conversation is turning, and it's not going to go away. They're looking at it from a different point of view. So where they get that different point of view from, I don't know. But for me, it's never ending. Michael Carrick to Manchester United will be decided over the next few months, and it will be decided over the next few months about a new manager coming in and replacing Michael Carrick. But Michael Carrick, quite rightly, will be considered. He knows that, you know that, and all the players know that. And I think the players are showing respect to Michael Carrick and his team by putting it in. And they're going to put him, I think, in the box seat. I really do think they're going to put him in the box seat.
Do you think the club will speak to any of the senior players at United to try and gauge their feeling on if they want Carrick to stay, or just to gauge it all around? Do you think it'd be good practice for them to do that, or just stay clear of that and for them to make their own decisions at a boardroom level?
No, I think I don't think they need to. When you look at Carrington, who's there? Jason Wilcox is there every day. He's in and around that squad. He's already talking to people. He knows.
Do you think he'll throw his name in the hat, Jason Wilcox, to become the next manager or what?
Maybe some under 11 side or something, I don't know. No, Jason Wilcox there, that's where they're based. That's like their main office there. So, no, for me, they won't be speaking to any senior players. And at the end of the day, we don't know where some of these senior players are going to be at the end of the season. So for me, I think it's all going to be in-house. The board are going to sit down and they're going to keep talking. And news is, and things are going to change each week, because as we talk to one manager, that news might change, something else, and then it just might go on and on and on. I hope we get to an early result on where we're going to go. But I think Michael Carrick, if he carries on the form, will sort of like damage the wheel and stop it turning. I really do. I think he will. He might change their minds, because I don't think me personally, I don't think they're looking at Michael Carrick to continue beyond the end of the season. But they'll have no choice to look at him if he continues.
Frogman says United to win 3-0 with Mbeumo, Bruno and Maguire scoring. Did you go 3-0 yesterday with your prediction?
Yeah, I went 3-0. I went 3-0, got a little bit giddy. But the more and more it comes to it now, I just know. And as a fan, I said before, as soon as that whistle goes, after everyone paying the respect, the noise level will just go up. It will just go right up. And I think United will get right on the front foot and 3-0. I just can't see it being any other way, to be honest with you, at this moment. Now, come back to me on my after-match video. Let's see if my attitude has completely changed. I might be turning round and here's the angry old man.
Would you start Sesko tomorrow?
Would I start Sesko tomorrow? I don't see why not. I mean, it's very difficult, to be honest with you.
Who do you drop?
Well, this is the thing what I like. You know, you've got to look at Mason Mount and De Ligt. They're not even on the bench, right? If they were on the bench, just think of that bench with Dorgu. And, you know, we're talking about a player there, outstanding goal and scoring goals, right? And we're not sure to start him. What a great position Michael Carrick is in. And it's a tough one. Would I start him? Yes, I would start him. But then that creates its own problems anyway. But this is where I say to myself, thank God I'm not the manager of Manchester United. But it will be good to see what Carrick does, how he covers this, how he covers this difficulty, how he gets over it, because it's a major, major problem. You want your striker on there. You want your striker who can score goals like he did against Fulham.
Big and Daft, there's actually a couple of us sat here as well. And he says, good afternoon, chaps. Great emotional show today. We will never forget our history of the club, and we'll never forget those brilliant players who sadly lost their lives. Robert also says, why would you rock a happy ship? Carrick and Holland just feel right.
Well, that's the thing. Why would you? It doesn't make sense. But on the other side of it, the ship will be rocked anyway. Because come the end of the season, there will be departures, okay, from this squad. And then we have the struggle, and then we have the chaos of trying to bring in players, okay, to replace them and bring in players who we want to add to the squad. And then we have the carnage and chaos, the disruptions there, because how can we bring in the players? The discussion people have been talking about right? There's no money. I've always said there's no money for January transfers. And my conviction was borne out with that because no one was there, even though I got criticised for 3 or 4 months, right? Because people thought I was talking crap. Now they're all agreeing that there is no money, okay? But I don't think there will be as much money to bring in as many players as we need. I mean, I look at it right now. Centre-half has to be brought in, has to be brought in. I thought one should have been brought in the summer. And 2 midfield players. Then you've got the spine. Then you've got the spine for whoever takes charge to take us through next year, okay? So you want the spine sorted. That's how I see it. Anything else after that is a luxury. We've got all the attacking flair, but it might change because of the departures in this squad.
I mean, I've put a poll in the live chat. Carrick for the permanent manager's job. Already it's got 85% who say yes.
Don't blame him. Don't blame you at all.
Yeah, it's going a little bit down now. 84 and 16% say no, but it's overwhelming right now for Michael Carrick.
Yeah, well, we're football fans, aren't we? You know what I mean? You know, we see what's going on, and that's what you all want. Well, who's producing it? Well, I mean, from a football fan's point of view, it'd be absolutely madness to get rid of Carrick. Absolute madness from a football fan's point of view, right? Because he's bringing us something, what we all want. Entertainment, excitement, proper football, togetherness. You know, I always said Michael Carrick, the day he come in, I said, you will see entertaining football, no fear football. And another thing I got slagged on. I've been slagged this year for some things I've said, and I've been proven right. You know what I mean? I said Michael Carrick will play, right? No fair football and get entertainment back in. That's all you want to see. That's all you wanted to see. And that's what we're seeing. But I also said, if Ollie would have come back, if Van Nistelrooy, that's how they would have played. And we're seeing it. So I want to see that to continue.
Yeah, a lot of you's getting involved in the chat there on what you've just been discussing there. Brendan Raider from our members club, thanks for your super chat, my mate. And he says, a super chat for the Busby Babes. Rest in peace. Much respect to you, mate, and everyone else out there getting your respects in the live chat. Make sure you continue it as well if you wish to do so in the comment section.
Yeah, it's a day of respect and that. And I just look at it in different ways. I know we started on this, but I have to say it again. You know, there's thousands and thousands of United fans, you know, who would have liked to have said something, but sadly have passed away. And I think it is a day of reflection. And if anyone, you know, I've seen it for the years, you know what people are like on social media and all that. And if anyone comes out with something disrespectful and that, well, my advice to people out there is to completely ignore it. Because anybody who comes out disrespectful on a day like this, it says more about them than actually you. So just ignore it. Don't bite. You know, it's a sad time. Reflection. They'll be doing it at Old Trafford. They'll be doing it in Munich today. And I know lots of people what have gone over. And I can't wait to go back over in 2 years.
James in the chat says, anyone not voting for Carrick, look at the reality of who INEOS will take if it's not Carrick. Not a chance it is anyone any of the fans want. So are you leaning more towards then of like your De Zerbis, your Iriolas and your Glasners? Because I'd take Carrick over them three every day of the week because he understands the pressure of this football club, whereas them three, I don't think would understand it. I mean, they can go 5-6 games on a winless run or getting beat back to back and it won't be front page news. I don't think they'd be able to handle it. You know, you even go back to Ruben Amorim and Erik ten Hag. They didn't understand the size of this club in the first few weeks, the first few months, and it took them a long time to get to grips of that. Well, I think their managers could handle it. I really don't.
And that's why you don't bring a manager in after the World Cup. He has to be brought in early. But
I mean, to remember Ruben Amorim in his first game with United away to Ipswich, and after it, he was talking about the amount of interviews he was having to do, and
but that just doesn't level at managers coming in here. That's all about players as well. Harry Maguire, I mentioned it the other week, if anyone caught it. I mentioned Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire did not get this football club when he walked in. because he went out in his flip-flops with his gang, with his family, right, abroad, right, thinking he could just walk around, okay? You just don't do that. And in the end, he ended up running from the police because there was carnage and chaos, right? You don't do that as the manager, as the captain. He didn't get it. He didn't get how big this football club is and what it means to people and how you have to conduct yourself. He gets it now, and he's got it for a while. But he didn't get it, and he was made captain. So for me, you know, it's tough when you come into this football club. Some people can handle it, some people can't. And that's why I say it's the biggest club in the world. It's just so big, and it takes a long time to understand what does go on at this football club.
I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today. It's been popping off in the live chat, a mix of different opinions, which is great to see. And if you wish to pay your respects in the comment section below to the Busby Babes and all those who lost their lives in 1958, you're more than welcome to do so. Smash a like button on today's video to help support the channel, and we'll be back straight after the game with the 3 points.
3 points, 3-0.
So get that.
What's your score?
3-1, I said yesterday. Yeah.
There you go. That was yesterday. Just reminding these people today. Skips out the Fulham one, didn't he?
Yeah.
So 3-0, 3-1. Get your scores in there.
No flip-flopping. 3-1 I'm sticking with. Come on, United.
Come on.
We'll be back straight after the game and the match reaction. So come and join us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Much love. Thank you.
Thank you.